Hello, I'm Linda Whalen. Welcome to The Road to Reading.
And I'm Brian Mulligan, man of syllability.
Syllability? That's not even a word.
Okay. Master syllabificator.
Ryan.
A man who can syllabify? That's a word, honest.
No, I believe you. Syllabify is a word. And so is syllabicate, syllabicating, syllabified, and syllabic. But I'm not at all sure I believe the part about you being able to syllabify.
You mean break a word into syllables? Of course. Fire away.
Oh, well, in that case, I think I will.
Oh. You were ready for me, weren't you? Well, okay. This is the word syllabic. Well, I remember from school something about clapping it out, right? Okay. So, syllabic, that's 3. Here we go. Syllabic, syllabic, syllabic. I'm rolling now.
Great. Sorry.
What?
Nice try, but incorrect.
Why?
I suspect you could use a bit of remediation.
I'm sure that doesn't surprise you. You know, it's not that I don't know anything about syllables, but that doesn't mean that I can get each and every word properly divided. Can I try again, Linda?
Well, I'll let you try again later on in the show, okay?
Oh.
You no doubt realize that you're not alone, Brian, when it comes to knowing about syllabication. You have, however, come to the right place to shore up your syllabication skills. Today, The Road to Reading leads us on an exploration of syllabication.
Well, I'm sure I'll learn a lot, but frankly, I'm not sure this is a life skill I can't live without. Knowing about syllabication might have been important before computers brought us automatic hyphenation on our word processors, but that was then. This is now. Anyway, dictionary is always handy. So, Linda, why teach it to kids?
Why?
Yes.
Well, let me enlighten you. Kids should learn syllabication because they're learning to read and because they're learning to spell. Being able to identify and blend syllables is important for reading. For upper grade students, being able to identify the number of syllables in a word by listening for vowel sounds is an important task for spelling. By the way, the majority of new words encountered by upper grade students are multisyllabic with fairly regular sound-symbol correspondence. Knowing about syllabication unlocks a word's pronunciation.
Over time, and with practice, our ability to use syllables in reading becomes more and more automatic. The more this happens, the less we realize we are using this skill to tackle new words.
Exactly.
As we grow older, our need for proper syllabication seems less a matter of reading proficiency and more a matter of spelling mastery. Teachers of students in upper grades, though, may need to remind students about the power of syllables for both decoding new words from reading and encoding. You know, spelling.
But the use of syllables as part of reading and spelling instruction should begin many years before the 5th grade. In the Road to Reading series, we've seen teachers use syllables in a number of ways.
Okay, how many words do we have in the one-syllable column?
7. What is a syllable? Let's do it together, okay? A syllable is a word or a part of a word with a talking vowel.
Advanced word attack occurs when readers move from individual symbol sounds to syllables. Understanding syllables is a foundation for understanding how prefixes, suffixes, and roots function in our language. And understanding how syllables work is a basis for orthographic spelling. And understanding how syllables work isn't as difficult as one might expect for either teacher or student.
That's right, Linda. Even I, the syllabically challenged, can get the big picture when I focus on the importance of syllabication. Let's quickly review our rationale for teaching syllabication. Understanding and using syllabication is an advanced word attack skill. It's a foundation for understanding prefixes, suffixes, and roots, and their relationship to vocabulary acquisition. And syllabication is part of our basis for orthographic spelling. In fact, syllabication is so useful, you can probably think of a few additional reasons for teaching it. But let's move on now to a consideration of 6-syllable patterns.
Well said, Brian.
Thank you.
We are indeed going to focus on 6 structural patterns that your students are likely to encounter when they look at syllables in the English language. Dangerous as it is to generalize, we nevertheless will state that everything in the English language breaks down into 6 syllable patterns. The first kind of syllable pattern is the closed syllable. A closed syllable ends with a consonant, and the vowel is usually short. Think of it as a poor vowel closed in by a consonant. Because it's closed in, it usually won't say its name. It just makes a short sound.
Okay, closed syllable. Vowel, trapped in. Feels sad. Usually makes short vowel sound. I'm going to try one. B-at, m-an. Yes, that's sad. And cute.
Are you ready for number 2?
Oh, sure. But I bet I can tell you what it is. The open syllable pattern.
Correct. The open syllable pattern ends with a vowel, usually a long one. Here, our vowel is not trapped in. It is in the open and happy enough to proudly say its name, the long sound.
Vowel not trapped. Happy. Usually proudly says its name. An open syllable ends with a vowel. All right, here's one. Bacon. Reside. Pilot. Linda, may we stop for a moment? I have some questions and issues. Does the vowel sound determine whether a syllable is open or closed, or is it the other way around?
The openness or closedness of a syllable determines the sound the vowel makes.
Oh, okay. So, take the letter combination of M-E. I look closely and I say open syllable, E says its name, and then I know to pronounce it me, not meh. More practice, and I listen to a word and begin to spell more correctly because I apply my knowledge of open and closed syllables to the sound and letter correspondences. Boy, you know, syllabication is really a reading and spelling booster.
You are catching on, master of syllabication. Practice with syllables will make perfect, and there's lots to practice.
But we're going to look at some words first. Okay? We're going to sound this out. Ready? If I do this, what do you think the word is? We. So when I have the B sound, I'm closing the vowel, right? The E is being closed by a B. But if I do this, what do you think I would call this? This is closed. This is an open. This is an open vowel. It has nothing to close it here at the end. Okay, let's try another one. Ready? Sound it out. Not. Okay, so what kind of vowel is the ah when it's closed? Short vowel. Short vowel. We're saying ah. Now, if I do this, I made it. This is closed. This is open. Now, what is this word? No. The word is no. The vowel is long. Right. The vowel is long on this word when it is open. The vowel is short when it is closed by a consonant.
Okay, so far we've covered 2 of our 6 syllable patterns, open and closed. Now we're ready for R-controlled. The R-controlled syllable is the co-articulation of with a vowel that changes the sound of the vowel to make it no longer long or short, as in dirt, barren, and forest. In this syllable pattern, the R always stays with the vowel that it controls.
Dirt. Yep. It's not a long I and it's not a short I. Forest. Yeah, okay. All right, so far we have 3 patterns. Closed, ends with a consonant. Open, ends with a vowel, usually long. R-controlled, messes with the vowel sound.
And we're learning this because...
Because we want to read better and we want to spell better.
Right. Pattern number 4 is vowel teams and diphthongs. A team of vowels that makes the sound of a long or short vowel is one part of pattern number 4.
Which is really 2 patterns lumped into one number.
Words like heat, beat, and boat have vowel teams, in this case with the long E and the long O sound. A diphthong pattern is one where two vowels make a new sound.
Like boil and haul.
Vowel teams and diphthongs should always be kept together in the same syllable. Are you ready for pattern number 5?
Ready when you are.
The vowel, consonant, and silent E pattern.
The old vowel, consonant, and silent E pattern, of course. This pattern isn't as tough as it might sound. Look closely and see how it works in words like reside and basement. Knowing that these patterns occur so regularly makes students more likely to use their structure when spelling a word.
And that, master syllabicator, is the idea.
Okay, so we got closed, vowel trapped by a consonant. Open, ends in a vowel, says its name. R controlled, vowel and R change the sound, like dirt. Okay. Vowel teams and diphthongs, boil and meat. Vowel, consonant, and silent E, basement. All right.
And finally, there is the consonant plus LE pattern.
This pattern usually occurs at the end of a word where the letters LE appear just after a consonant.
Brian, can we review this one more time?
Yes, of course. I'd be happy to. Closed, ends vowel trapped by a consonant. Open, ends in a vowel. R controlled, vowel and R change sound, dirt. Vowel teams and diphthongs, boil and meat. Vowel, consonant, and silent E, basement. Consonant plus LE, purple.
Very nicely done.
Thank you.
That wraps up the 6 patterns. Now, teachers shouldn't forget that students should know phonics rules so they can identify the number of vowel sounds as they work with the words.
Which should be 1 vowel sound per syllable.
That's correct.
Speaking of rules, we're now going to move on to the rules of syllabication. Just the sort of thing I need to help me divide words into syllables when I have no dictionary or spell checker. Or I'm on Jeopardy and I say to Alex, syllabication for 500, please, Alex?
Absolutely. As we run through a few rules for syllabication, I'm sure that you will see how the rules interrelate with the 6 patterns that we just looked at.
Are you ready? Here's rule number 1.
Syllabication rule number 1. When a word ends in a consonant and LE, count back 3 letters from the end of the word and divide.
All right. Find the LE, count back 3 letters, and divide. Here we go. Staple. LE, 3 letters. 1, 2, 3. I will divide. Staple. Piece of cake. Next.
Excellent. If a single consonant is surrounded by 2 vowels, you usually divide before the consonant.
If a single consonant is surrounded by 2 vowels, you usually divide before the consonant. Okay. Now, this makes the first syllable an open one and the vowel in the first syllable long. Deduct. Now, with bonus, the N is surrounded by 2 vowels, right? Divide before the consonant, giving the O the long sound. Bonus.
Very nicely done.
Thank
On
you.
to rule number 3.
Rule number 3. When 2 or more consonants stand between 2 vowels, divide between the consonants, keeping blends or digraphs together. You ready, Linda?
Oh, I am so ready. All right, let's see. When 2 or more consonants stand between 2 vowels, divide between the consonants, keeping blends or digraphs together. Okay, so the N, D, and R are between the U and the E. So keeping the D and the R together, we would 100, right?
Yes.
Okay, good. Now the C and the S are between the I and the O. So we would divide between those consonants. Okay, and now the N and the S are between the O and the I. So we would divide between the consonants. Again, Wisconsin. 1 vowel sound per syllable.
Very good, Linda. Now,
Thank you.
the next rule is that a few words divide between vowels.
Oh, notice how 1 vowel sound appears in each syllable. That's probably the reason that this rather brief rule is a rule at all.
To our list of rules, we'd like to add a few syllabication tips. We could call them rules, and some people do, but they might not be sturdy enough to put into that rule category. Nevertheless, they are important to include in any syllabication curriculum. Don't forget to remind kids that syllables divide between double consonants or between two consonants. Consonant digraphs and blends should be left alone when dividing words into syllables. And finally, prefixes and some suffixes are usually separate syllables.
Are you ready to try again, Syllable Master?
I've been ready this whole show, okay? Syllabic. Here we go. Notice the double consonant, right? Let's get those separated right away. The double consonant. Okay, now I've got another trapped vowel sound here. That's easy. There. And then finally, I check for one vowel sound per syllable. So, syll, all right, that works. The Y is like an I, it's a vowel. Lab, a trapped vowel, is short. And same thing with ick, short vowel sound. All right, I think I'm ready for inspection. Linda?
Let's see. Congratulations, Master Syllabicator. Now on to bigger and better things.
Like maybe our tip of the day.
Just what I meant. We've looked at a brief rationale for teaching syllabication, examined the 6 patterns of syllables found in English, and offered a few rules and tips to assist in dividing words into syllables. We hope this will help make you more of a syllable expert in the classroom and provide students the skills they need to be expert readers and spellers. And now, here is Brian with our tip of the day, a fun and exciting activity that you can use in your classroom immediately. Brian, I can see that you're ready, but as usual, you're making me just a bit nervous. What in the world are you supposed to be this time?
Fear not, Earth Mama. I'm just a poet, and you didn't know it. See what I mean? Our tip of the day is called, can you dig it? Poetic dialogue. It's perfect for the first reading of a poem in class, especially if it's rich in vivid imagery, or if it's a bit difficult to understand. You see, the cool cat teacher stands up in front of the class and reads the poem line by line. After each line, the hipster students write their own line in response. The free-flowing thoughts and feelings about the line just read, and so it goes. Teacher reads a line, students write their response. When the piece is completed, the students take turns sharing their poems, reading the original piece with their lines interspersed. Can you dig? Writing your own poem with the greats like Robert Frost or Emily Dickinson. Poetic dialogue, baby. It's cool, man. It's cool.
Great tip, Brian. But as for your career as a poet, all I can say is, Kat, don't quit your day job. Now, getting parents involved in their children's literacy is an essential step in the teacher's quest to successfully teach students to read. But try as you might, it is often difficult to get parents with busy lifestyles to participate in the process. In light of this, today's reading resource is actually not for you, but for the parents of your students. Let's go back to Brian for more.
That's right, Linda. Oh. Today's resource provides over 100 great ideas and activities for parents to do with their children. It's called Family Time Reading Fun, helping your child become a successful reader. Each exercise is a bite-sized mini-lesson outlined in a short paragraph that can be understood and applied by even the busiest of parents. In fact, many of the activities in the book are designed for a hectic lifestyle and can be done while driving, shopping, at meal times, or while doing housework. Categories include hearing sounds, recognizing words, comprehension, fluency, writing, study skills, and attitudes and interests. UC Irvine professor Dr. Linda Kleinert also includes her 10 Keys to Literacy and a very helpful overview of influences on literacy development. Family Time Reading Fun is a great introduction to the partnership between parent and teacher that will transform the children into successful readers, writers, and learners. Family Time Reading Fun, helping your child become a successful reader by Dr. Linda Kleinert is published by Creative Teaching Press. Linda.
Thanks, Brian. Joining us today is Kim Bagasina from Palm Lane Elementary in Anaheim to chat about syllabication and reading. Welcome to the show, Kim.
Thanks for having me, Linda.
Now, Brian's been talking a lot about the strong connection that can be made between syllabication and spelling improvement. Has that been your experience?
It depends on the level of the reader. If they're a strong reader, it's just another skill that will help them learn to spell words. I feel that it's more helpful, actually, in decoding and reading.
Mm-hmm. As opposed to encoding in spelling.
As opposed to encoding and spelling.
Mm-hmm. Tell us about how you may have noticed that syllabication affects reading skills.
With syllabication, a child can look at a word and see this big, long word and chunk it into pieces so they can handle small pieces. They may already know that word. They may have heard it but never seen it in print. Mm-hmm. So they'd be able to sound it out, put it together, and come up with a word they already knew.
Mm-hmm. That's right. How do you teach syllabication in your classroom?
In my classroom, I first review the rules of syllabication. They would have learned it way back in even preschool. Mm-hmm. However, we review and review and review. And then once they have those rules, I allow them to have a spelling contract. And they can, as part of their spelling contract, clap out the syllables, write the syllables down, or then sort them into the different rules.
Mm-hmm. And tell me a little bit more about the spelling contract.
The spelling contract is a list of about 20 different activities that the student can choose to practice their spelling words. Mm-hmm. It's both spelling and vocabulary, because I think without that link, they're just learning letters, and it's not helpful. I give them certain ones they have to do. They have to know what the word means, so they have to write out a definition or draw a picture or in some way show me they know what this word means. And then after that, they can choose from a variety of ways, including breaking it into syllables, to just practice their words over and over until they know them. And if they do a certain amount, if they do 8, I'll give them an A. All the way down to 0, they, of course, don't get a good grade.
Right. What's a simple way to explain to students why syllabication is important?
I tell them that they have little cubby holes in their brains. And with these rules, they can then take a word and put it in the cubby hole with that rule in their brain. So they would be able to, as I said, figure out longer words when they know little pieces.
Right. What kinds of syllabication practice do you recommend?
We do word sorts. And so as one category in a word sort, I might put a syllabication rule. And they would have to sort their list of words into this category as well as others.
Do you play games with syllabication, or do you use Scrabble, or?
We play Scrabble. We play any way you can get a child to manipulate a word is going to help them learn it. And I found that kids, when they're playing games, don't really know they're learning. So we play as many games as possible.
Where do you get your word lists from?
I will create them. I'll take them from the book that we're reading. I'll take them from sight word lists, if that's what the child needs. It depends on their level. I'll take it from all over the curriculum: science, social science, math.
And how do you get parents to participate?
Oh, that's a tough one. Spelling is one area that the parents really feel comfortable in helping out, because they have a list and they can check to see if their child has gotten it right or wrong. Also, parents are usually pretty good about reading with their kids. So earlier this year, I taught a parenting class on how to chunk words with your child. Don't just say sound it out, but chunk it into the syllables. So they're willing to do that, and you can do that in any language.
Right.
It's a transferable skill.
What resources do you recommend?
Oh, gosh. Well, we just got a brand new reading program by Houghton Mifflin. That's wonderful. I've also used Making Big Words and Making Words, and I love those books. They've got all sorts of neat games and activities that the children buy into. If the kids are interested, they'll learn.
What is the hardest part about teaching syllables?
There are some kids that aren't developmentally ready to understand the rules. When I start, I go back to, do you remember what a vowel is? Do you remember what a consonant is? And every year I have children that just don't remember that. So you have to scroll all the way back.
From the beginning.
If they're not going to understand the rules, then it's just not worth them doing the activities. It's worth presenting it again because at some point they may get it. But it's not worth having them fail.
And can you give us tips for connecting your activities to real text?
Oh, absolutely. What I'll do when we're reading and a child comes upon a larger word that they don't understand, or even a smaller one, I'll allow them to try it. And then I'll say, try that one again. Remember this rule. For instance, remember the silent E rule makes that vowel say its name. And they try it again. Generally, if they try it the second or third time, they'll get it.
Right. And would you recommend word banks so the kids can see these different words?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. When they're writing, if they can find the word somewhere, they don't go to dictionaries to help spell words. But if it's right there where they can access it, absolutely.
And what might a word bank look like?
A word bank might be about a subject. For instance, oceanography. You would have a whole list of words that have anything to do with the ocean and sea life and plant life, anything about oceanography. And so what's neat about the word lists is kids from all levels can choose the words that they want and they understand to use.
That's great. And who puts those words on the word list?
We create our own. Teachers create our own.
And then the students really own those words that they choose.
Right. And if they come upon a word while they're researching or from their memory, they'll say, oh, can we put this on? And then they really own it.
Right. So they can challenge themselves with words.
And they do.
Can you sum up why syllabication is important?
I think it's important because it gives the sophisticated readers another rule that they can use, and eventually those that are a little bit weaker in reading will understand the rules and will be able to decode and encode a little bit easier.
Thank you so much for being here today,
It's
Kim.
my pleasure.
Well, we hope this look at syllabication was helpful to you. For Brian Mulligan and myself, Linda Whalen, thanks for joining us. We'll see you on the road.